so as an agent, responsibilities are to our clients, and our goals in short are to try and maximize their careers, which could involve, of course, negotiating contracts, trying to seek out marketing and endorsement deals, helping them with off-field issues. In short, our goal is to try and give our players and our clients peace of mind so that they can concentrate on their football and know that all the stuff off the field, all the business end, is being sorted out. So we consider ourselves sort of a full-service management outfit where we don't actually do the financial advising with how they should spend their money. We'll introduce them to the right people to manage that part of their lives, but everything else we try and play a role in simplifying and making sure that they can focus on their football. Wasserman, you could say, are one of the bigger agencies in that we're international. We have a global practice. So as you can tell from the accent, I've come from the US, from our LA headquarters, and we have clients throughout Major League Soccer, which obviously is a growing league. As you can see from some of the names above me, we're in our London office at the moment, and our UK agents look after players from England internationals, the top of the Premier League, down to players in the Championship, and sure, a few players in League One as well. So, in short, we want to try and identify, sign, and work with the best and the brightest. As we've seen, sometimes young players particularly, need to come through the system before they end up in the Premier League. So, we have, fortunately, the network and the relationships on all sides to make sure that our clients can benefit from that. Yeah, I would say it is in that, if you wanted to boil it all down, the sort of life of an agent, you could say it's seek, sign, service, leverage, right? So seek, you start with identifying who are the top young players coming through the system that look like they're going to be promising professionals, right? Sign, obviously that involves a bit of recruiting, once you've identified these players, getting to know them, meeting their families, spending time with them, explaining how Wasserman differentiates ourselves in the market and why we're the best group to look after them. Service, as I talked about, that's the day-to-day, looking after the players, helping them with their needs, whether it's contract, whether it's off-the-field stuff, whether it's family issues, whether it's being a go-between between the manager and the player, and then leverage, which is obviously the piece which is about trying to make sure that while they have this limited window to be a professional footballer, we're maximizing their opportunities to earn money, and so that they can have a comfortable life when this short 10-15 year career span is over. In the US, it's very similar to here, if only difference being that unlike here in the US, a lot of footballers who end up being professionals, they go through the American university system. So we're cognizant of that as agents. We wouldn't sign a player who was going to go to university because we would jeopardize their eligibility. We'd want to sign them when they're leaving university to turn professional. So there's a consciousness about which players are turning professional at which age, and trying to identify when's the right time to introduce an agent. The most notable story in the U.S. is Freddie Adu, who was considered the next Pele at the time, and he was 14 when he signed with MLS. So that there hasn't been anyone even close to that. There are a few 16, 17, 18-year-olds in MLS at the moment. As the academy structures get built out and better players are being produced at a younger age, a lot of them are choosing to bypass college or university and turn professional right away. So I would say at the young age, maybe 17 is where you're starting to see some of the top young players turning pro. Obviously, players who go to university and do 4-year degrees and graduate, they may be 20 or 21 before they actually turn professional. So there's a bit of a range. I personally only work on the men's side, but Wasserman as a firm has a department that focuses specifically on female athletes. So, we were fortunate to represent, I think it was 8 or 9 of the U.S. women internationals that won the World Cup last summer, including the likes of Abby Wambach and Hope Solo and Alex Morgan, Sydney LaRue, Megan Rapinoe. I mean, some of the more well-known players. So we have a department that does what we call women in Olympic sports. So focusing on WNBA players, gymnasts, skaters, volleyball players. So yeah, as an agency, we cover both the men and the women. I mean, I'd like to think that we would find you. In that part of the job is identifying and understanding who the top young talents are coming through, whether it's here in England or back in the U.S. or anywhere in between. So, in short, if you're a promising player, scoring a bunch of goals, you may be ticking on to the youth national teams, or or in a good academy system, and the marks are good and the feedback is good, then agents are going to come to you. Candidly, your issue is going to be trying to sort out who's going to be the most professional and the most competent and the most ethical group to help you get where you want to go. And obviously, we believe at Wasserman we do things a bit differently, and in that we are sort of the standard bearers for the industry. So play well, and we'll find you, I would say.
Would that be?
Yeah, I think as mentioned, Jamie Vardy is a great story about somebody who came from, it was 5 leagues back not too many years ago, and obviously, setting the Premier League on fire right now. So I don't think there's, you can't rule anybody out. Obviously, you have to focus your time on who you think the best players are, but as we know, there's a lot of players for one reason or another, they get left out of the system, or maybe they're not born into the right academy, or they may be down a couple divisions. So it's important to understand who those players are and try and provide support for them as well, because I think it's fair to say, and maybe a bit cliche, but at the end of the day, work ethic has a ton to do with who makes it and who doesn't. And of course, at some level, everybody's big, everybody's strong, everybody's fast. What separates, I think, those that do and don't make it is sort of the 6 inches between your ears. It's the mental component. It's the ability to outwork everyone else. It's the ability to deal with adversity when things aren't going well, to respond from an injury when you've had a setback. It's the willingness to get better every day and to ensure that that you refuse to lose, if you will. So I think obviously the nice part about football, I think it's why one of the reasons we all love it and we're all attracted to it, is you have somebody like Lionel Messi, who physically isn't overwhelming anybody. He wouldn't have had a chance to play in the NBA in America, right? But he can go on and be the 5-time Ballon d'Or winner, despite his stature. So that's why it's such a beautiful game, because literally you don't have to be the biggest or the strongest or the fastest. You can have the best IQ or be clever, and you can do things that separate yourself. So I would say continue to work hard. Obviously, work on your weak peg. Try and be a 2-footed player if you can. And address the things maybe you're not as good at. Make sure that you don't have a weakness in your game. So, but at the end of the day, work ethic and desire are going to be the keys to really ticking on. So we have a number of clients that that we've literally worked with from the day they turn professional through their post-career jobs, and obviously it's not a coincidence that a lot of former players end up getting their coaching badges and working on the coaching side, or working on the media side as a TV personality, or joining the front office of a club, whether it's on the management side, whether it's on the commercial marketing side. So we are always happy to introduce our clients up and try and give them advice on what to do when the playing career is over. And if we can help them land a position with a club or a league or a team or a TV network, so that they can ensure that they continue to have revenue, candidly, and they're working in the sport that they love, then that's a win for us as well. So as a big global sports marketing company, we have relationships with brands, with media outlets, with the clubs themselves. So we try and marry our clients with the right people after their career, so that they can continue to support themselves.